Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again. Today I am in Glen, Arbor, my retreat, and here I am by the Glen Arbor Lake. Actually it's on the other side because I'm going to walk you through this little bridge. That's Glen Lake over there. Beautiful turquoise lake. And very shallow over there as well. And over there are the Sleeping Bear Dunes, beautiful national park. So what are we going to talk about today? Trump announced that he has his deadline. He has his deadline in achieving peace in Ukraine. So what is his deadline and what can he do about it? He is about to meet the Norwegian Prime Minister who's visiting Washington DC today on the 24th of April. And Trump said, well, I have my deadline, and my deadline is this. If the Russians or the Ukrainians, who according to Donald Trump both want peace, refuse to come to the negotiation table, as he called him, because he self-identified as the mediator, self-appointed, then he said, we're going to change things. We're going to have a different attitude. Well, what can you do, Donald Trump? What can you do? So, first, the United States appointed itself as the mediator. I said this many times before, I'm going to continue to say it. United States of America is not the mediator. Right there behind me, the Sleeping Bear Dunes. United States of America got this, or assigned itself the, the position of a mediator, because it doesn't want to recognize the fact that so far its actions directed towards the Russian Federation and Vladimir Putin failed. I mean, we can, try to see reality in various ways. Reality will be the same. I mean, I can look at this right here and say this is not made out of concrete, but it's still made out of concrete. If we go and look at it empirically, there's ways to figure things out. So I'm right on the bridge right here. And you can see over there the bottom. I mean, it's cloudy outside, but you can see the sand is beautiful here when the sun goes through, and a lot of boats go through this right here from Glen Lake, go to the other side, where is a beautiful location, beautiful. Glen Arbor is behind me, about 3 miles down there with a winding road. So what can Trump do? The Russians allowed him to identify as the mediator. United States of America, let's clear it, it's not a mediator, it's a losing side. But nevertheless, as long as the Russians are okay with that, in a way that, you see different nuances of turquoise and blue, as long as the Russians allow them, it's because the Russians have something to gain out of it. Otherwise, they would say, screw you. Why isn't it the mediator, let's say Germany? Because Germany was not in charge of the war in Ukraine. Someone else was in charge of it. Therefore, Trump can do what the Russians allow him to do. Now, what happens if, let's say, as Trump said, well, let me climb on this thing right here, like an old man that I am, right there. So what happens if Trump says, okay, my deadline is gone, is off? What can he do? Is he going to go back to attacking Russia and providing Ukraine with the weapons? Is that what he's going to do? Or he's going to say, okay, I wash my hand and that's it. It's up to you guys to sort things out that I started and I failed eventually. I suspect that Trump will continue supplying Ukraine with weapons. Then the reason why I think that is because you have the Pentagon, you have the military-industrial complex, and the military-industrial complex will not allow to lose such a customer, which is war in Ukraine. It is true that you can say, well, the Pentagon already fixed its future, which is if the war ends in Ukraine, then we're going to get some money by providing the baboons in Europe with weapons to protect themselves from the boogeyman, which is Putin. They already did that, but can they just, smoke and walk in the same time? I think they can. That is, we're going to have a war in Ukraine, plus we're going to arm the baboons in Europe. Therefore, we're going to have both. And believe me, these guys are businessmen. They're not in the defense, they are in making money. I mean, in the process, it's like right now, I'm making this video, but actually I'm walking, so I'm going to lose some freaking weight, okay? So, I have to breathe down now. Stay like a tank. All right, so they're going to probably do that. I know the wind is going to blow like shit now. But maybe if I disconnect this, you're going to hear me different. Let's see. All right, I think the wind is going to blow, not on the microphone there. So what's going to be? Trump, how should I put it? These guys can nuke this so-called peace process, these guys being the Ukrainians or the Russians, however they want. And I mean, if you look at it from the Russians' perspective, everybody should stay the fuck out of the Ukraine war, because for them, it's as they say, it is a military special operation. That is, they don't recognize it as being a war, because if that would be a war, the entire Russian army would be engaged in that, fighting the war, and then you could have about 30 million people going over there. I mean, if you calculate the potential, which is 145 million people population of Russia, and then you take the adult population, you divide it in two, women, men, get the man over the year of like this, because I know the wind blows from there and the microphone should be on this side. They would have about 30 million people. This is the bridge. I'm probably going to go down there and stay there. There's not a war, so the Russians would rather deal with Ukraine alone. So for them is, yes, United States of America, if you get out, we're going to sort things out with Ukraine, which Europe is just irrelevant. The problem is, I don't think the military-industrial complex, the banks, international financial system, or the energy industry will agree with that. Why? They need to make money. So one way or another, the same profiteers will profit from people's misery. Well, just so you know, houses around this lake are about $1.5 million or more. The property is small, but nevertheless, it's just that it's a beautiful lake. I want to go down there to the clear. I didn't say clean. I said clear, because acid is clear as well. So I don't want to imply that it's clean. And here is fake rock, looks good but fake. And we have here the passage, beautiful blue. You don't see it, maybe like this. The deeper it gets, the it's me. All right, here is lake. So the Russians, they don't care how things are solved. They are not losing. Therefore, get as many as you want involved in this. We're still going to continue doing conducting a war. Why? I don't think the Russians are over there for half measures. They're over there for the war, which is just to be probably the whole maybe just protecting the old bridge. So Trump's again kind of a threat of I'm going to be out. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. and that will be nuked by the metaphorically speaking, by the Europeans, who are going to tell Zelensky, don't agree to anything, like the Poles were told before the Nazi invasion in September 1st, 1939. The same. Don't deal with the Germans. Don't agree with their demands. Don't negotiate. Negotiate, as the Germans would say, in bad faith, which is we're gonna discuss. But when there's about to discuss, they will not discuss because they don't wanna make a deal. It was about the Danzig corridor, remember, or Dansk, like a gazella. So they will not negotiate. I don't think so. And as long as Zelensky will be in power, he's not gonna negotiate unless the Americans could make him negotiate, which is replace him. But Zelensky has a lot of friends, and I don't know how Trump can justify to his friends in IPAC the removal of Zelensky. That's why Zelensky is golden. You can't touch him. I mean, did you hear that? He can't be a Nazi because he's Jewish. Yeah, that's why racism in the United States of America was cleared, because Obama was black, even though he was biracial, but whatever. You can swim you can swim here, come with the kayaks, boats. Now there's no wind here. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. This is my place. Well, my friends, Trump's deadline means, and here you have some castor. Old. Thank you very much for being with me again today, my friends. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.